Hey, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing all right. It's very early right now. Otherwise, I'm just taking it all in right now.
Yeah, good morning to you as well. So, the time zones are like that. I'm sorry that you had to do this in the very early morning.
Yeah, it's just that I'm aware that like I had to check like I guess like there's this feature on my phone that basically just checks like this the countries and all that stuff by the hour differences. So I figured when I was looking at New York and all this stuff, it's like 3 hours ahead, and I'm in California, so we're still early right now. We're early birds at this point where I live in.
Yeah, I know. Even it's worse in Hawaii because they're like also behind. So it's like six or something.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. It's a funny business time zone. Yeah, I have gotten sometimes, like a cat. She's from Arizona, so I often get that wrong because there's some different stuff with that, sunlight, daylight saving thing. So it's just weird.
Right, it is weird. With these time zones, I'm starting to get a little bit like better at it because I do have friends that are in the choices or in the romance club fandom where they do live in other countries like Turkey or even like Russia for that matter, for example. So I have to like start being aware because it's already nighttime there with those respective countries, or even just here where I do have friends in the fandom that are here in the States, but most of them are mostly international. So I'm aware of the time differences with both fandoms pretty much that I'm in, but I've always been in choices mostly since the beginning, I
Yeah,
think. So
yeah, exactly. The time zone's a funny business. Yeah, yeah, that's
that's
right.
true.
Yeah. All right, so thank you for coming here. I'm really looking forward to having a nice choices and everything that we love about choices with you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate this is my first time ever being on a podcast, so I've never thought I would do this, but thank you for this opportunity, by the way.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you here. And so we're going to talk about a lot of things. But first, I would like to know this is a really curious thing. I always have found it out to be very curious that how did you get into choices? Like, how did you find about this app, and if you found it about it, then what was your first book that you played? So, and what was your experience like? Like you just tap through, like things happen, the music. So how did you feel about all those things?
Well, just to like backtrack it a little bit, I did try to play choices around I think it was 2019, but at that time obviously I didn't know what to do with the app. So it was up until the pandemic in 2020 where I suddenly saw like this book which is The Royal Romance, and I read all of the three books pretty much, and I love the music, I love the plot, I love everything about it. And then I started getting into the royal air. I'm so sorry, I live I live on a flight path right now, so excuse the airplane.
Oh,
My
I
apologies.
understand.
So obviously the first book I read was The Royal Romance. All of the three books, like I said, the plot, everything was amazing, the music, everything. And then I started getting into the Royal Air series, and I think with later on in that same year, I was also reading The Nanny Affair and Queen Bee. So that kind of developed like a lot of it. And getting into the fandom, well, that's like a really lengthy story. I actually was on Instagram around December 2020, where it was a really, really sad time for me personally because everybody was, unfortunately, I don't want to get too much into the pandemic, but I know it's just an important message to send out to people. But I was very, very depressed at that time in December of last year, where I knew that people were passing away, and the cases were going up here in California. It was really terrible. So I was on Instagram, I think, one night, and I was looking up the hashtag, the Royal Romance, and then I saw that people were making edits. I'm thinking, oh, like people make edits of their characters. So I didn't officially make edits until January of this year, and I started like doing them occasionally. And then when one of my favorite books now, Laws of Attraction,
Yeah,
so shout out to everyone that knows this, I started getting really motivated into editing, and I also read Foreign Affairs this year, and With Every Heartbeat, and other books that are really good so far. So there's that.
Oh yeah. I can relate to that. I mean, yeah. I mean, actually, coming to the fandom, I also, joined the fandom around the same time you did. So yeah, like seeing that, because I never thought like people would be so, into this thing that they would be going as far as to, write fanfics or like doing artwork and things. So it was really
Even
something special. So yeah, it
yeah,
was awesome that, like this just gives a whole new dimension to the app and to the stories, which is super awesome, and then you get some extra these things and pretty wonderful people there, and it's an awesome experience.
I I have to say that like I think it was like in the few months into the fandom there was like a lot of incidents going around like with bullying and people making like fake accounts to bully other people with because there's people that do role playing accounts, which is really fun by the way, and I'm actually one of those people that has that. So I didn't get into like the role playing like with my fictional character and stuff until like a bit like not like a few months after, but it's just that there was a lot of bullying going around prior when I was just barely starting in the fandom, like about 3 or 4 months in. I was thinking like, oh my god, like it was just a lot, so I had to back up everybody. And it was mostly in the Instagram fandom where I started at, because I know there's people that started on Facebook or they probably started on Twitter or other social media, but I started mostly on Instagram. It was just a lot in those few months where people were just like getting bullied and people actually left the fandom or they just like stepped away. It was just very sad to see that. But I think as time went on, like at least in my experience, like for being in the fandom for about 8 months now, congratulations for me, but yes. I only had maybe like one bad experience with someone in the fandom that was just like, you know, very petty, and I just don't I don't bother with it. I just don't hold my breath because right now I have my life going right now with school and being, you know, in the fandom, making edits. I just don't have time for like the petty drama pretty much. But if I have to back somebody up, I will most likely do that. I don't really care what anybody thinks, and so I'm very nice though, but just like do not screw with me, honey. It's all good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, bullying and stuff, it's just it's a part of, like, you get these things, like it's not always sunshine and roses. So everywhere it's just you meet these people, but it's glad that like most of the people have met, like they like take things sportingly, and like they most of them, like people have different opinions, they have different love interests. I do understand what you're talking about, so I've also heard stuff like that, but most of the people I've interacted with so far, they're just open-minded, really open-minded. So that helps. But yeah, it's like there are also people who, but yeah, it is what it is. And but so far, I'm glad to meet people who are like accepting of me and accepting of everything. I'm really glad to you and others there. It's a really awesome experience, all in all.
Yeah, I think you just put it better than I did, but it's just a lot because I just want to give a shout out to all of my friends. If you guys are listening to this, I love you guys in the fandom, to both Choices and Romance Club, because those are the only two fandoms I'm technically in right now. Yeah. But anyway, it's just like you put it a lot more better than I did. In your
oh no, yeah, you did say like you did put it better. Of course, I mean, yeah, I just said like like experience, but you're right, because the time we're experiencing the January, I know stuff happening that, there was like this Hazel, the same show, so she also had one video on her Instagram about that. So yeah, I'm aware of what you're talking about, and it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe that I entered at a time where people were getting like bullied and whatnot. It was just like I was just a newbie in the fandom at the beginning, where I was thinking like, wait a minute, like what's going on? So then I started like quickly getting notice of it, like when the first few months actually, or not even just like when I barely started fandom, but just the first few months were just like crazy, like where people were getting like commissions stolen and all this other stuff. It was just very, very crazy to take in. And honestly, nobody should ever be bullied, and I've been through this because I was bullied for many years, and that kind of triggered some stuff going about. It was just very, very unpleasant. So I don't want anybody to get bullied in this fandom. I know it happens, but it's just like if I see it, I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna like speak up. I don't want anybody like staying quiet about this. I don't want anybody going through with either what I went through or what others went through just throughout that experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible because it's just you come here to have fun, just to express yourself, in terms of fan art or fanfic. So this platform is uplifting and shouldn't be sort of it shouldn't be used for bullying and stuff. I get if somebody doesn't like someone, they can just do like block them and stuff. That's okay, but harassing them, going on and on about against their opinion, that's just really bad, because people have bad experience because of this. And like you said, the drama, no one likes a good drama. I mean,
yeah,
the drama.
To yeah, I'm not into that whole drama stuff, but when I have to call it out, I just have to. I don't. I'm just very like I'm someone that just has zero filter, honestly. But anyway, it's just that I only had maybe one bad experience in the fandom with someone that basically blocked me like one day out of the blue because I was making like a. Because here's the thing, so on my Instagram, you guys do follow me on Flowernewsqueen, by the way. So I do mostly laws of attraction edits, which is like Gabe and my main character Olivia Michelson. So obviously I felt like someone blocked me because we have like the same like main character and we have like the same li or love interest. It was just very like petty at first, and at first I didn't let it affect me because usually I brush things off like this, but I guess within like the first week or the second week, it started like eating me up mentally, and this is a problem too because I'm in school right now. So after I was talking to a couple friends about, you know, how I was going, I felt like I wanted to step away until I came back for my 8-month anniversary in the fandom. But at the last second, I was like, I just can't like give up. I'm not gonna let one person deter me from, you know, from being in this fandom. And I feel like I'm safe in this fandom. I don't feel uncomfortable in any way. I'm really good friends with other people, and I'm very passionate about what I do. So yeah,
definitely.
it's just like absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry about the experience you had, you know, like this is kind of, you know, this can take a mental toll on different people, you know. So, but I'm glad, like, how you fought against it and the approach you took. And moving on, I hope, like, you meet awesome people, and, you know, I hope that you have awesome interaction in the fandom. And, you know, because that's what it should be. And by the way, your work is like, the fanfics you've started. I saw some of them on Twitter, and they're like super awesome. Is and the way you approached it. Also, I was talking about it on Twitter too, like linking up the current affairs. Like there was this, but I think one that related to Britney's, like the free movement. You know, so that was like really good and quite well done. You know, like the way you approached it.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to tackle it on because I have read the original book, of Laws of Attraction, many times already since the book ended, and I'm very excited that that book is getting a second, you know, a second book. By the way, I'm sorry if I'm repeating this, but anyway, so I just wanted to approach it because I was analyzing. I think when I was reading the book again, I was thinking, okay, so maybe like these first chapters, like Gabe was being very, very hard to get, which I understand because he's a senior partner or a junior partner first, then senior partner. It was just very difficult because I'm thinking, okay, like this doesn't like, you know, really align with what I want for my fanfic. So obviously I wanted to create like a storyline with my main character Olivia. So she's like, you know, she's like that boss queen or whatever. I'm not saying the actual word, but you know, I've said it many times about my main character, but she's like that super queen, like, you know, she's like experienced already enough. And then obviously I haven't really gotten a chance to upload my latest chapter of the fanfic on Twitter, but I will do that as soon as possible. I've been just like working, like, you know, getting better at it because I feel like I'm not being like excellent at it, but then I realized, okay, since people like it, I'm gonna just keep on going with it. Exactly. I like the plotline so far, but with the current events and stuff, I just want to like cover up with the Me Too movement and like the Black Lives Matter movement or like any other relevant world topic that people's that don't really talk about this, but I just want to tackle on different topics like class action lawsuits and all that stuff. So it's just that I wanted to be as relevant as possible because I think in Laws of Attraction they never really covered you know, much of it other than like the murder case of Marcus and like the class action lawsuit with Koenig Chemical. They never really covered anything else other than that. They never really said much about it. And don't get me wrong, I love the book, but it's just like just at least cover like a little bit of pro bono cases that are relevant or like the relevant world topics that are happening right now, you know, with this country or just the world in general. So that's what I wanted to like brainstorm about. And you know, I even said it to on Twitter, like, you know, I want to just like broaden the horizons just a bit more so it can be relatable to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I understand that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Laws of Attraction, the murder mystery and everything, it was super good, but we didn't get much scene in the courtroom. Like I don't know if you have read Veil of Secrets or not. So there's like a court scene. So we don't get something like that I was expecting since it's a law book. Now, I'm not saying, like you said, that this was not a good book. This was, but maybe it was like one book, so we'll still have to wait for a book to like. It was really short, and you know, a lot of things could have been included within 16 chapters that couldn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it's good that you're doing that, and I hope to see more on your Twitter and Instagram with your fanfic.
Yeah, it's just like very simple fanfic that I'm doing, but I just wanted to see at least like instead of the 16 chapters, they could have at least like done like one chapter where they were even you said it yourself, they could have done like a court scene where things would have gotten crazy in regards to like the murder case against Marcus and whatnot, where that poor man was accused of murdering his own girlfriend and stuff, and they basically have proved that he didn't do it. Obviously, there could have been a court scene involved in it, and then Gabe, speaking up, and then the main character, all this other stuff. It would have been very like because here's the thing, I'm very much into like law oriented or like murder mystery stuff, like with TV shows like Law and Order and Criminal Minds. Like, that could have been something similar to that in that chapter. They could have at least done one extra chapter for the finale, but I know with Pixelberry they do 16 chapters typically, or a little bit longer sometimes. It depends on the storyline and the plot. So
Yeah.
it's a really good book, but they could have done a little bit more to show what happened in court with that.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the storyline was super good, but we just acted as a private investigator instead of a lawyer because we don't get much of the court scene. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, I know Gabe is your favorite love interest, but if I ask you to name some of your favorite love interests, who would you name as besides Gabe?
Okay, so obviously my very top one is oh my gosh, I'm trying not to laugh right now because anytime I talk about Gabe, I cannot stop. So obviously my interest right now in choices mostly, and I hope nobody drags me through this, but Gabe is my top interest now. Liam from the Royal Romance, Tatum Mendoza and Male Blaine from Foreign Affairs, Sam Dalton from the Nanny Affair. Oh my gosh, I like one more than one, but there's some other ones that I do have, but those are the names I think I can think of at the moment. But I do have a couple.
Yeah, did you read Open Heart?
I only read a little bit in Open Heart, but I just unfortunately for some reason I was not really like interested in it. But I know that there's one guy that I like, and it's Rafael Aveiro from that book. He's very like caring personality is really cool. I like it.
Rafael, right?
Yeah, Rafael. There you go.
Yeah. I liked him too. He's a nice character.
Yeah, and he's very, very underrated. I just feel like when it comes to everyone liking Ethan Ramsey, anyone who can like their allies all they want, but I just feel like Ethan's not really like my type. But it's just like a little conflicting. But I feel like Rafael is kind of like more my type because he's very sweet, he's very caring, and he's like more laid back and chill, which which is really nice.
Yeah, and doesn't think twice before putting his life at risk for others. That's what I like the most about him.
He's very like I would say he's very underrated because I know mostly people talk about like the main like LI, but I feel like just give attention to the underrated LIs, like Jackie Varma, for example. She's very underrated, and it's a lot of other people in Open Heart that are very underrated as LIs because everybody talks about Ethan, but not many people talk about the other underrated love interest in that book. So that's why kind of like it turned me off a little bit, like not reading the book. I just chose not to. That's just my opinion, but anyone can read books they want, but I just felt like it's not really my type. Well, maybe later on it might, just at the moment not really. At this moment.
Yeah, and also like people wanted like Aurora or Kyra to be a love interest, and even what was the name of that intern? I don't think you've read that for, but there was an intern actually. I can't think of her name.
I think she's Inés de la Rosa. I think that's her. She's one of the other doctors, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I wish I knew because I have not read the book myself, but I do know there's only one LI that I like.
Esme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yep. So like that would have been better because also like if you see the proportion, like 3 male love interests versus just 1 female. So that was just So I would agree with you there. Like the love interest department, it was like a bit turn off for a lot of people. Like like it was mostly Ethan Ramsey. So people who liked Raphael or Bryce, they didn't get much of them. That's what they felt like. And also people who liked Jackie or some other like Aurora or Kyra or Esme. So they wanted a romance.
They hardly got any time from what I was reading from other comments. I'm not like negative in any way with this book. It's just that just give it, like, they should have at least, like, Pixelberry could have at least given some attention to all of the allies, not just only Ethan Ram. Like, no disrespect to all my Ethan lovers, don't drag me for this, but it's just like, give attention to all of the other love interests as well. Like, give the, at least Pixelberry could have given like the enough screen time, which is what I'm what I'm trying to like talk about a little bit here.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I totally get that. So, what about your favorite books? I mean, I know from Gabe it originates that Laws of Attraction is one of your favorite books. But if I ask you to name some of your other favorite books, so what would that be?
Well, literally my favorite book that I first read actually since, oh my gosh, since last year, it's like the Royal Romance and the Royal Heir series. That's literally my favorite book that I first read, and I've been hooked to it ever since.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like my first favorite book ever.
Yep,
Like,
first books are always favorite books. I can relate to that. That's true.
Yeah, that is true. I'm trying to figure something else to say, but it's just like it'll come back. But that will always be my favorite first book, and I just want to talk about Maxwell Beaumont. He's literally like the original party boy in that entire series. He's all about breakdancing. He's all about having fun. I know that people did romance Maxwell, but to me, I see him as more of like that little baby brother that like you just like want to like, you know, dance or have a good time with. He's like a guy friend pretty much that everyone can relate to.
Yeah, I think I don't know much about it because it's a very big series, and when I came in, I didn't start with this. It's kind of hard. It's like a mountain to climb for me. But I've heard like Maxwell was originally not a love interest, and then people liked him a lot, so they sort of promoted him to love interest. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they did, from what I can understand. I read the book since like last year, but I literally read all of the 3 books from the Royal Romance and the Royal Heir, pretty much. Yes. So I did actually play the playthroughs with Hannah and Maxwell and who else, Drake Walker. But my main interest will always be Liam from the Romance, but I renamed him to Danny. I'm like, I know Liam is a really cute name, it's gorgeous, but I'm just like, I want Danny as my love interest name for the Royal Romance series.
Yeah, that's a good feature. I mean, I like when they give us the opportunity to customize a love interest name. I mean, they did that with my 2 first loves too, with all the 3 love interests. I like that very much. So that's a good feature, I would say.
Yeah, I do like when they customize the names. I wish we would have customized the names for like the newer books and whatnot. Like they could have at least let us customize like the names for Queen Bee or Laws of Attraction or even like the nanny of her. They could have let us at least do something like that. But they basically like kept the name as is, which I have no issue with. But it's like,
yeah, it would have been better, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the older, I don't want to say it's like the older books, they would let you customize like the love interest name or basically like your name in general for like the main character.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what really drew me more to the Royal Romance for that reason. You could, customize your LI's name and your main name. So
exactly.
There's that.
Yeah. And also one thing I don't know about you, but I always feel like they always tell us like, hey, give us 25 diamonds and buy a cloth almost every chapter. But I have seen like how our love interests almost don't change what they wear, for most of the book. I mean, yeah, if there's a party or prom or homecoming or some, occasion, they change their clothing. But most of the time, they wear the same cloth while we change our clothing. So I feel like they should have done something with the, clothing of love interest too, right?
Yeah, they should have done that. Actually, now that you're bringing it up now, I never thought of it. Because every time when I was reading, like, at least my favorite books, I know I'm going to be name dropping Laws of Attraction the whole time. So sorry about that. Or sorry, not sorry. But I feel like in every book, like, it's just, I don't know, it kind of like irks me too now that like you kind of reminded me of it. Like, why don't they do that option where like you also pay or like I guess like do like a makeover on the love interest or like the side characters or whatever for the whole book. It's just like, come on, like just give us some variety already. Because I wish I would have seen something nice like on because I'm just gonna be honest, in Laws of Attraction, like Gabe Ritchie's in the same suit, and I'm just like, come on, like I wanted at least like some variety. So that's what kind of like irked me a little bit, but not too much, because I was just like, he's easy on the eye, so I'm gonna let that slide. It could have been the same thing too for the other books that I read before. They just keep them in the same outfits, and it's just now it's a little bit irritated thinking about it now, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, real quick, somebody said something really funny. Like, there's a book called the Vampire Book, Bloodbound. So there is like two vampires who have been alive for 1,000 years. So they show a glimpse 1,000 years back. They wear the same outfit. In the present time, they wear the same outfit. Sometimes from now, they wear the same outfit. They've been literally wearing the same outfit for 1,000 years. So that's what they brought up.
Oh dear Lord. Oh my gosh. I just cannot. I have not read Bloodbound, but I've heard of Adrian Raines and the other characters in the book, but it's just like they could have at least given like at least some variety to what happened thousands of years ago. They could have had him in like an actual like Dracula vampire outfit, not the same suit from like 1,000 years ago, for crying out loud. It's just like, oh my god, I cannot. It's just like that's just a little like they could have at least done that variety for Pixelberry. So obviously Pixelberry getting together because we need some variety with the love interest outfits too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. And also, I need to ask you this one now. Who are your top villains? Antagonist characters.
Top villains. Okay. This is a very, very easy one. I don't really have a top for that one, but I think the top one that I cannot stand whatsoever is Anton from the Royal Romance. Or he was supposedly Justin. Yeah, like I do not like him whatsoever, because at first he was like I don't know how to say this about Justin / Anton Severus from the Royal Romance series, but he was basically at first like the press he was doing mostly the PR stuff for the main character, I guess, to see how how she conducts herself with with the press and whatnot. But then later on we find out that he was the villain. He was trying to actually assassinate the main character with the other like Sons of Earth like underground cult type of thing in the Royal Romance series. So it kind of like it really tripped me out that this whole time Justin was basically the villain, but then it turns out he was Anton, and they were trying to like attack Cordonia, which is the fictional kingdom in the Royal Romance series. So that one I cannot stand him for, because he was really trying to like overthrow the Cordonian reign so that he could be king and whatnot. It's just like he turns me off. He's like the only villain I can't stand. Everyone else are just like whatever, but Anton is the one I can't stand whatsoever.
Oh, that's good. What about from Laws of Attraction? Do you have a favorite villain there?
A favorite villain? Martin Vanderwall. He's kind of like not my favorite, but slightly. Oh my god, I don't like Martin at all, to be honest, but he could be my favorite villain in Laws of Attraction for a reason, because he was always trying to sabotage or like basically like lower like the self-esteem of the main character. But obviously the main character, he or she basically fights back like with words, telling like basically calling him out in a way. So overall, like he's basically a villain to me now in that book.
Yep, definitely. Always looking for opportunity and finally found it and struck his deal.
Yeah, I don't like him. He's very like he's like a spoiled brat pretty much. He kind of reminds me of like those rich kids that get like their iPhones or something taken away and they start like whining and whatnot until their parents give it to him. That's what Martin reminds me of. He's basically a spoiled little brat. I don't like him at all for it. But yeah, he's the only villain in Laws of Attraction. Everyone else is really, really good at what they do, but Martin is the one that's like a spoiled brat, unfortunately. So
yep, exactly. Always complaining and whining about stuff. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, he's very whiny. It's just like, why did you sign up to be like, to be in that spot in the first place? And then he was always trying to like cause trouble, but the MC basically put Martin in his place pretty much.
Exactly. Pretty much. But in book 2, I think we're gonna see more of him as a villain. So, I just
Well, let's
like
see what
he's
the
not
main
great.
character does. Let's see what the main character does, because I want to see them overthrow Martin and so that they can get like his partnership back. That's all I have to say. That's kind of like my tiny prediction right now. I hope it's true for book two, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I can see sort of like Martin will be now, sort of creating a problem. Like, we'll be blocking everything. Like, whatever we say, like, hey, no, let's not go with it. So he'll be a blocker, and he will just, creating problems, and will be a pain in our neck. So that's what he's going to do. And like, we're not going to do anything. We're going to resist whatever you're going to do. So
We're
we're going to have to deal with that.
we're gonna fight back, shoot. Trust me, like the main, like honestly, like behind the story for my main character, Olivia, like she is gonna fight back. She's gonna have to like claw her nails at him if he needs to, honestly.
Yep.
But Gabe want to hold her back because she might claw somebody like Martin. Because I just can't believe that he did that in the final chapter, where like he basically like bribed Sadie, and then also had to talk with the partners. It was just a lot. It was a hot mess, but
Yeah.
I was just like, why did you do that to like Gabe? Or like you basically took away his spot. But well, guess what? We're gonna fight back and get his spot back. So yeah, it's gonna go there.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting, and it deserved the book too, rightfully, because it was a great book this year.
Yeah, but I think the fandom at first were not accepting of Gabe because they're thinking like, oh, like we don't, there was just some negative people, and I even seen the comments myself on the Choices Game Instagram account where people were saying that like, oh, why do we have like another like Li once again, that like we don't like him. And then I think with time everybody started falling in love, and that's how everybody went like crazy as soon as Choices announced like, oh, guess what, we're having like a second book. I was crying, I'm not gonna lie. I was bawling my eyes out when people were blowing me up, especially in my messages. People were blowing me up like, hey Yasmin, like like, oh my gosh, it was just crazy. Like there's something like, hey Yasmin, like Lost of Attraction's getting a second book, and I was like, oh my god, and I started bawling. Like I was crying when that went down. So I feel like everyone in the fandom, at least the people that are positive, they came together, and it was like we felt like the Avengers, honestly, just coming together. And guess what, we're getting a second book, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, actually, after like since last year, they've been like, we have Sam, we have like Ethan, and we have also Cassian. I think the Witness love interest. So people at first thought Gabe is going to be same like them, but Gabe was really different, and a really really great love interest. Like
Yep.
The slow burn was really what we had with Gabe. So yeah, he was a great love interest in that department.
Yep, that's why he will always be my top love interest, even though my first ever Choices love is Liam from the Royal Romance. Like all of a sudden I was just like, I'm about Gabe Ritchie. So that's why the edits I've been doing over on my social media have been very evident ever since. So I'm not ashamed by it, honestly. Gabe is like something else. At first, like he was very like, excuse my French, but he was just like very hard, like very very difficult to get. But I
Exactly.
actually kind of did like, and I didn't really like the slow burn, but I think it was worth it when we got that diamond scene. Just saying.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Exactly. I mean, and I understand like why Liam is your favorite too, because your first book is always, and the characters from first book, they have always a special place in your heart. Because I remember that from playing High School Story. So yeah, I totally can relate to that.
Oh, I'm starting to play High School Story as well. I'm barely getting into it. It's really like, I only read like the first like 2 chapters. I think they're really good.
Yep, it's a great book. I mean, it's the virtual high school that you never had, or sort of like, it's a great place.
Awesome. I'm trying to figure out more stuff to say, but I'm just blanking out yet again.
No worries. I mean, High School Story. I mean, this is just. I mean, you were starting to read. You will see as the story progresses. I mean, the best characters, the best people you can be around, and it's just. It also teaches you a lot of things. It's a great thing to play. It's just. It's great, and there's also this High School Story game that Choices, the Pixelberry had before they even released Choices. So that was launched, and then when they made the Choices app, So they sort of made a story out of that. So some characters like Julian and Mia, they were in that game. So that was like a game, a high school story game.
Wow, I didn't even know that, and I was in high school back in, in 2012. So
Yeah.
that's very awesome. I think there's only one game that I did play from there, but I think it was from. I think it was called Hollywood University or Hollywood U. It used to be an app, but I don't know
Oh
if it
yeah,
still
it's
exists.
also on Pixelberry.
I used to play that game a lot. Like it was really good though too.
It
But I'm
was
not.
yeah, high school story was like that game. They're like almost the same to that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But the Hollywood University or the Hollywood U one that I played, like I said, for some reason it kind of like foreshadowed with that one book that's called Red Carpet Diaries. For some reason, I don't know why it reminded me of it just now. Which, by the way, I am starting to get into Red Carpet Diaries, like as well reading it. And so far, I do like Matt Rodriguez. He's kind of a hottie, in my opinion, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think of the high school story, the song like that plays in the like the first day song?
It's really cute. I'm not kidding. It kind of gives me like the 2010s like hit songs, pretty much. That's what kind of gives me that whole vibe. It's adorable. It's cute and adorable, honestly.
Exactly.
I really.
Exactly. That's what it is. Exactly. So moving on, are you reading the recent books? First, tell me, do you have VIP or are you non-VIP?
Actually, I'll be honest. I am VIP, so there's, yeah, I'm pretty much on that.
Cool. So what recent books are you reading now? And I guess you have
Oh,
already read Unexpected Heiress.
I have not read that one, but I know that the recent ones I have been reading is Shipwrecked, which is on the VIP feature. I kind of like the book so far, but it's getting there. I don't have any like, oh, like it's a really good book or it's a bad book. So far it's still early to say at the moment, but the LI is really handsome, by the way. So, and then the same thing for the female main character, gorgeous as well, or the LI pretty much. They are very different, to be honest. They look very like gorgeous, I would say, for all of it. There's another book that I am reading as well. It is just currently right now the Royal Finale, the Nanny Affair book 2, and also I just read Queen Bee book 2 just this week, so it was awesome. Honestly, those are the only current books I'm reading at the moment, like right now at this time.
Cool. Okay. So and you read the Queen Bee book 1 too, right?
Yeah, I read the first book. I already finished up that book already. So.
Oh, that's cool. How did you feel about Queen Bee? Because like the whole book. What did you think of this?
I always talk about this to any of my friends or just like out loud in general. It kind of reminds me of the college version of Mean Girls, and
Oh,
it reminds me of it. So basically, it's like Mean Girls, but like the college version of it. So I really like the whole storyline where you just like hook up with random like characters, pretty much. But honestly, oh my god, no, I don't really want to get in trouble for this one, but I feel like a lot of people did want to try to romance Poppy Min Sinclair, but it's like it doesn't make sense because she's kind of like the villain of the story, yeah. But I'm Team Ian Kingsley pretty much, so I can't say anything negative about it. But I do understand people's opinions that they wanted Poppy or they wanted other like side characters as the LI, which I understand. But honestly, Queen Bee was basically my book to just like hook up with like everyone in there. I just started like hooking up with everybody, but in the end, I still chose Ian Kingsley. So that was a very fun book to read.
That's a good character. Yeah. And also like I don't know how to put this in words like the way the description is like by description I mean like in between dialogues the description they give, like this is not the normal description you read in other books, but it's like someone is doing like a live comedy in between dialogues, like oh like they will go on and they'll be like oh damn she said that, like it brings it adds an extra element of fun and like a comedy and like like live roasting, so it's just super fun. The way of writing is just super cool and lit, so I just like how they do that. This is the best, and I've never seen this before in any other books and choices.
Me neither. I know that I'm still like a newbie because I just read the books last year, but I really like that roasting chapter in the first book of Queen Bee, where basically like the main character was kind of like roasting like the people and whatnot. It was pretty funny to me. So I was
Yeah.
not expecting that either. I was laughing the first time around because like you get to like roast everybody, including Poppy Mint Sinclair or Poopy Mint Sinclair as like as well. Yeah, as I call her Poopy Mint Sinclair because it's always these comments funny. Like I don't like her. She's like my other favorite villain slash not so favorite villain, but anyway, I digress on that.
Yeah. Oh damn. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so like the new girl Celine. So yeah, even like at one point, Poppy, says stuff like that's like incoherent and it's not kind of understandable, like what she's saying, and Celine calls her out, and that was really fun. Like, hey, what are you even saying? It doesn't even make sense.
Right in the second book, oh my god, it was hilarious. I took the diamond scene by the way for Queen Bee, like for the first chapter for the second book. I was laughing the entire time when like her former posse, like Veronica Lombardi and Carter, they were calling her out and airing out her dirty laundry. Once again, it definitely is like Mean Girl vibes right there when they're just like airing out her laundry at Poppy, where they're like, oh, like they're the one that called me that. Basically, because there was this one dialogue I remember from Veronica Lombardi where she basically said, oh, I recall last week that you called me so that we could go on a trip to Greece or something like that. I was like, dang, girl, like you're calling her out.
Yeah.
I was laughing that whole time though. Like they just literally aired her laundry out, and like Poppy wasn't making any sense. Like she was always like, basically like bullying or trying to bully like the current Queen Bee, which is the main character now. I'm like, Poppy, you make no sense. Like just like skedaddle, baby girl. Like we don't need you here with your bullying. So come on now.
Yeah, exactly. And the roasting thing was like, in Mean Girls, we did have something like a diary, Regina George had, like, where she used to write bad stuff about everyone. So it was something like that. When that came out, like, everyone was fighting in the hallway, like, someone saying something mean about the other person. So that was the scene. Like, everyone went after Poppy. That was a great scene.
They were dragging her to the gods. Like, they were literally dragging her right there. I was like, the whole time I was like clutching my flower crown because I always wear my flower crowns. I had to literally hold my crown because I was like, it better not get snatched off because this roasting session, it literally, like, now that you mentioned it, now it reminded me of that one scene in Mean Girls. It was just pretty funny though. Like I obviously knew that. I'm like, let me just take down Poppy Sinclair in that diamond scene, and everybody just dragged her. She deserved it though, honestly, for like being a bully. So
yeah,
there's that for everyone, I guess.
Definitely is. But it's a fun chapter, and I can't wait to find out, how this book's going to progress. But I have a question for you. What do you think is the X?
I think it might be Dean Steinhelm. I think it might be the Dean for sure.
Interesting.
Because think of it this way, because like basically the Dean is more of like, I guess like she always wants to know like what Ian Kingsley is doing, and oh my god, it's just like I feel like she's definitely X for sure, because she always wants to know what Ian is doing and asking him like the random like questioning and whatnot, and I feel like she is trying to take down the main character this whole time. So I think if things, if I guess if my prediction does come right, we'll find out that X is probably Dean Steinhelm for all we know, honestly. I just want to know what's going on with that.
Yeah, this is gonna be exciting. But I think it could also be like a Poppy destroyed a girl in book one. They talk about it. Something Dalton, like Persephone Dalton or something. I mean, it could be her because it says like the X says we've been at the bottom for a long time. This elitist, like the top 15, they're basically the elites, and they're just getting their way through the school or the college because they're top and stuff. But they belong at the top, and they will claim what's rightfully theirs. So it's exciting. It'd be interesting to see who is the X, and wow, this is like a mystery book.
Right, it is. It's still like the Mean Girls vibe, but then I didn't know that they had that mystery element into it. They just threw a loop, basically just threw a loop in there. But aside from from my prediction of Dean Steinhelm, who I think is X, there's another one too, Benji. he's a creep. I think he could be X as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because very creepy
But
the
yeah,
whole time.
here's one thing I don't know, like you're pretty new to choices, but after playing choices for 2.5 years, what I've realized that the love interest and the antagonist, they make antagonists the people, so for that they choose like new character model. Now the Benji's character model, the problem with him is that he has been used widely in different books and choices, and generally they don't use the most used models as love interest and antagonist in a particular book. So that, and same goes with Lexi. I think a lot of people are referring to her, who is opposite to the professor. Now she was the main antagonist in Perfect Match, and she has been used in various other books. So I don't know, because I think they could play a part, but being X, I think just for the historically speaking, it's maybe it's like I would say it could be someone else other than them, but the dean, she could well be the X.
And she
There's a
could
part.
well be. All that she wants to do is try to like separate like the Li and the main character apart, which is very very odd for like a dean, because usually the deans don't ever do that. Because I'm in college right now, so obviously when with college and all this stuff, like you're on your own, like you can decide whatever the heck you want to do.
Yeah.
In terms of that, so I'm just thinking like that's very odd for like a dean to separate two people apart, because at the end of the day, Ian and the main character, or Ina, I guess, because there's people that choose like the male or the female, Ian or Ina.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I got to refer to that, so I should have done that at the beginning. But anyway, it's just very bizarre that they would just be like separated, but at the end of the day, they're two consenting adults that did have intimate relations with one another. Like there's no like law against that, but like they're two consenting adults that basically had interactions pretty much.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me like a red flag right there with the dean, where she's like separating them, and I was like, this is what high school is like. You usually separate people apart in high school, not in college. So that was that kind of threw me off a little bit, now that I'm thinking of it just right then and there right now.
But also, I think at the beginning they said in this book, and also throughout the book one, that in the Belvoir University, it's forbidden for a professor to be romantically involved into a relationship with a student. So that's like a quote unquote law in Belvoir. Like you can't do that, and if you get caught, then you'll be expelled alongside of the student. So I think that's a law. But that's what I think I had read in book one. It's been a long time now.
Yeah, it's just like, that's just bizarre for that particular rule. But I do understand, like, I feel like nowadays, obviously in colleges, like, people can do whatever the heck they want, but it's just like, you gotta just be like responsible. But I understand, because this is more of like, like the fictional book. I know that in real life this stuff wouldn't happen, but it does happen more than you think. So I do understand the plot between, like the fictional book and in real life. So I was just touching up on that, like, at the end of the day, like Ian and the main character, they're two consenting adults that did have relations, and nothing terrible happened. But it's just in real life everything is like drastic, unfortunately. So yeah, it's very hard to say.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. So I can't wait to find out who X is. So we'll know more about that as the book progresses, I guess. Yep. And you're also reading the Nanny Affair too.
Yes, I am currently.
Did you read the recent chapter?
I read the recent chapter. It was very questionable, so I'm kind of like doing like the playthrough for the recent chapter, where like I guess like there's like an option to I guess to end things with Sam Dalton, and then all of a sudden I think it's that one diamond thing with Jordan. I was like, you know what, I'm curious, I'm gonna pay the diamonds, to see what happens, and I did. So basically it was more of like a kissing thing, but then like the main character realizes that it isn't right and whatnot. So there's people that did not take that diamond thing, but I was just curious. I was like, let me just take the diamond thing, even though I do not like, Jordan at all. I just wanted to see what was up with that, basically.
Yeah.
But there was another option that I'm going to be playing through, which is like we need like a break, from each other, this and that. I was surprised that there was that option on chapter 15. I think if I got that correct. I was just thinking, like, what is this all about? Like, is this, the option to like end things with Sam, or on a break? That was just very like, I was kind of thrown in a loop when that scene, when that part with the dialogue.
Exactly. I mean, this is quite interesting thing because like how in the last chapter MC had the breakdown all of a sudden, after 15 chapters, and then the stuff happened with Jordan, like just after breaking up with Sam, then Sam walking in on the apartment. So it's kind of like. Yeah, I get that. Like, why you want to replay it because it's hard to process like all of the things that happened in the span of last chapter. It's like everything was going good and suddenly like out of nowhere it happened. Like it just happened automatically. Like it like you snapped your finger and it happened. Like so it was kind of hard to process. I understand that.
I was just shocked, honestly, because I'm Team Sam Dalton, but just like after paying that diamond scene, I had to like see what was up with that whole Jordan scene. So I don't even know what else to say like in regards to it, because I remember all the way back to the first chapter of the Nanny Affair book 2, it basically did show that exact same scene, and then I'm looking back and I remembered, oh my god, I remember this from the beginning where they were showing back to it.
Yeah.
So now it looks like is something gonna happen for the final chapter, because we don't know what's gonna happen for chapter 16. So hopefully when the dialogues come out, we'll see what happens. But until then, I was just left like in shock in that one, even though that happened.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. So this is quite interesting what happened. And yeah, in the first chapter, we did get a glimpse of that. But come to think of it, they did say it's going to be a one love interest book, and so Jordan is probably is nothing, and we're destined to get back with Sam. So because it's one love interest book. But in that case, it's so if we did take the diamond scene, then it's kind of weird. Like things stand at a really strange point.
Yeah, I like I said, I took the diamond scene myself. So I was thinking, okay, like let's see what happens here, and oh my god, it was just hard to even just like tap through that diamond scene. I didn't even know what else to say. I was like, what is this? Like, what is the MC doing? So
exactly.
I don't know what's gonna happen for the final chapter. I don't know if we're gonna get a third book out of this, or still have like I don't know. Honestly, it's very hard to say for chapter 16. I don't even know.
And I think chapter 16 is not the final chapter, and it has like 20 chapters or something. Probably.
Yeah, I hope so, because I know in the first one they had up to chapter 20. I read the first book as well, so.
Yeah. It's going to be
I'm shook right now. Just by, yeah, I'm pretty like shook that just, came to mind.
Yeah, I mean, after this scene, it would only make sense that if Jordan is a love interest too at some point, like maybe we're giving this up. That is really hard. I don't see the way. Because if it is, then I would like to see try things with Jordan, like how that works out. But if you come to think of it, but if Jordan is not a love interest and it's just only Sam, then that scene would be like kind of questionable.
Yeah, it is very questionable. So I'm like, what? It's just pretty much the same thing I'm going to say. Like, I was just shocked at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, I took the scene myself, so I was like, oh no, like it was just very like concerning. But we'll see what happens for the next chapter. On what happens right then and there, because I feel like Jordan is more of like the side piece when that scene happened. To be honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it, very hard to think of it.
Yeah, and they also described at one point that there's something off about Jordan's intentions or something. So that also kind of gives it up. Like, probably Jordan is not going to be a love interest, or probably is working with Robin or someone. So yeah, that in that case, it would be very questionable scenes.
Yeah, it is very. I don't even know why that was included as a diamond scene. I mean, I feel like it could have included another like different scene instead, but with Sam though. But it's just the Jordan one. Like I said, I paid for the scene, so I'm like, I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't, stay innocent in this, but I do have a feeling that Jordan is probably working alongside Robin, because I doubt Sophia's involved in any of this. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
Exactly.
weird right now.
But if but there could be another scenario, like I'm saying, but this is really not that much possible, and this is probably not happening. But if they do somehow, like they do include Jordan, like you can choose between Jordan and Sam at the end, which is really unlikely to happen, then it would make sense, like how things went down there, which is very unlikely to happen, by the way.
Yeah, because it's just a single love interest book from the nanny affair.
Exactly.
So obviously, Sam will always be like, my baby. Honestly, he'll be one of my fictional character loves that I love a lot. But I obviously wanted to see what would happen with Jordan. But it's just like at the end, I love Sam too much. So there's that.
Yeah. And I it's not gonna happen, but I would have liked it very much if it did include Jordan as a love interest, because she also reminds me of Dakota Winchester from With Every Heartbeat. Like I chose the female model. So,
It gives
yeah.
me that vibe a little bit. And I've
Yeah.
read With Every Heartbeat as well. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, With Every Heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was crying like a baby, honestly, by the end of the I guess by the end of like the chapter and stuff where Dakota died. I was like, oh, like I was just crying like crazy, because I know that like at the beginning of the description where it says like, oh, like this is basically talking about death, which by the way Pixelberry did a really good job in my opinion with the whole like storyline with the single love interest, but unfortunately Dakota died of cancer at the end of the book. I was crying really bad because it kind of brought me back a sad memory, because I do have a grandmother and whatnot. She died of breast cancer a couple years ago in 2010, and it kind of reminded me of it when I was first reading With Every Heartbeat earlier this year, and I was just very like I was crying so much, like with that book by the end of it. It was just very emotional, but it does depict I mean, like to me, because I did I know people that have died of cancer, or are fighting it right now at this time, through these difficult times, but I was just falling like a baby, honestly, like throughout that. So with Pixelberry, they did depict that that scenario very well of someone that got diagnosed with cancer and whatnot. So yeah, it just gives me like like the emotion right now for me, because it did bring back that memory of my grandmother dying a couple years ago. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Sorry for your loss. It's hard for those kind of scenarios, and I know, like when you read a book like that or you watch a movie, so it does sort of initiate those emotions inside you, and it's kind of hard. And specifically the description of the book, so it's really like it stimulates your feelings, and brings back memories and stuff. So yeah. And this was a nice book too, a great love story, and the single love interest book you said. I would say this is by far the best single love interest book, because they don't include much hookup scenes and stuff, but still the way they build your mental bond with that, by the end when you lose Dakota, you have this grief, you have this hollow feeling inside you that even though Dakota is not real, but you feel like, wow, I'm missing something. So they did a really good job with that, like how they built the mental bonding between MC and Dakota.
Yeah, because for me, I did choose male Dakota, which is like the Hispanic one, by the way, the one that I picked. Because I know there is a female Dakota, but I chose the male one, just obviously, because it's probably like the same like dialogue. But I was just like very astounded that choices or just Pixelberry as a whole, like I'm pretty sure the writers did a really excellent job for that book, because it reminds me of a movie that I've seen I think a few years ago, which is called The Fault in Our Stars.
I was gonna say that.
Yes. Girl, it reminded me of it, but I was like, oh my gosh, like it just gave me that
Yeah.
that vibe out of it, or just like the memories of it.
Exactly. I mean, here MC watches the email and the video, and there the main character, the female character, was just reading a letter by her lover.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think there was this one scene that kind of like it kind of like wrecked me in a way where Dakota was saying like, oh, like like until we see each other again, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
present tense.
that
I'll be
was
watching
like,
over you. Present tense.
yes, that one. I was like, oh my gosh, like thinking back to it, I was crying throughout that. It was just, I'm emotional, so don't judge me for it. I'm a Scorpio because we're known to be emotional people sometimes, but it really reminded me just like coming back
Okay.
to it. Yeah, it was a really good book though.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know if you've watched five. So I like to think of this book as a blend in between, Fault in Our Stars and 5 Feet Apart. Because the hospital scene, we get our friends, and we meet some people who die in the hospital also. So it's like a blending of those two movies. It's just a great piece, and like you said, the emotions building up, and also, I mean, the way the music, wow, the two musics they have from here, that is, and the way they show the sky, and even the book cover, the Dakota and MC, and Dakota is clearly visible, like they're suffering from something, a pipe is going inside their nose, like the oxygen pipe perhaps, and the sky, the cloud. So it's really deep, and I liked how they did that.
Yeah, it's just like I'm trying to like take a deep breath just from like that topic of that book, because it's a very very sad book, but
Yeah,
like I said, it just
sensitive.
depicts just depicted well, like in terms of like what would happen like right now with cancer patients and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a really, I don't have anything else to mention about that book, but I really like the music, but the sad music behind it, I was like, oh man, like I know I'm just gonna start bawling my eyes out, and it did just that. So honestly, whoever creates like the background music, like shout out to you, because you made me cry, and that's even
Yeah.
it's even more emotional for it.
Yeah. I mean, this is one thing you see with choices, like their artwork, the background picture, and the background music. It's just off the chart because they do a really good job. I remember I was reading Big Sky Country, and to be honest, it just, I would just close my eyes or look into the background of that scene in my mobile phone, and it would really transform me to like that countryside, which probably like in the story, but it just transports you. It is super awesome. Like, it just teleports you to that time, the story they're telling. So it's just superb. I don't think any other app stores have this kind of interactive music and views. It's just super awesome.
Yeah, I just feel like choices with their background music, I really like it, by the way. So there's songs that I don't know how to say this though, but I feel like I've heard like some of the background music before, like from the Royal Romance and like from another book from High School Story. I think I don't. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
It's
and
just
American.
like I don't recognize it anywhere, or even from the book The Freshman. I think I started reading that one a little bit too. I was recognizing some of that music, and then the Royal Romance and some other stories that I read. I was thinking, oh, like I've heard this before. Like it gets me excited hearing about it.
Exactly. They use
Yeah,
music of other books and different books. Yeah, that's also cool.
but I was noticing too, just with the recent new books, like for example, the Laws of Attraction background music, it is top notch, top tier. I really like out of the three background music's like the one for the intimate scene, the other one where it's like at the beginning of the book, and then the middle one where they're about to solve cases pretty much. So
Yeah.
if there was any other background music that I love, it's definitely like top tier, top notch. Laws of Attraction, that one's like, their background music is dope, honestly. But I know that the intro of the music, it kind of gave me like the Weather Channel like background music, from the 2000s vibes pretty much. I was like, wait a minute, like I know I've heard this before. So it just gave me that nostalgia at the beginning a little bit when I was first reading it months ago.
Exactly. My favorite musics are from Big Sky Country and Blades of Light and Shadow and Haunting of Braidwood Manor, and they are like super awesome. And also, High School Story musics are really cool. And even in America's Most Legible, they depict the beach sound in a really nice way. It
Love
almost
that book. I love America's Most Eligible. I haven't even brought up that book and all that stuff. I remember I just finished up book 1 earlier this year, and I'm barely on book 2. Oh my gosh.
I love it. I mean,
Back
Jen.
notch, honestly.
Yeah. Jen, I mean, at one point I thought it was my second book that I played in Choices, by the way. At one point I used to think of Jen as a real character. Like I was like, wow, thinking about it for a long time. It's just super awesome book.
And the crazy thing is, I think Jen is someone that like is also an LI, if I'm not mistaken. But I took like the I guess like the LI that's like the bad boy character, so I ended up just taking him.
Adam.
Yeah, Adam. There you go. But I named him Alexander, I think.
Oh yeah, again, there you go. Like you can name them whatever you want. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
Adam
chose.
is a basic name, but
Yeah.
you know, I chose. Yeah, I like Alexander better.
Yeah, I liked Adam too. Like I chose Jen as a love interest, but as a friend and everything, like I like Adam and McKinsey and Durek, I guess both of them. And I chose the brown one as Adam. Who did you choose?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'm like talking over. I'm so excited for this. But obviously, for me, I like Derek too. He's very like, very nice though. Just as like as a friend. Not, I don't know about an LI though, because I don't know how his route is, but I prefer like Adam, to be honest. But as for the other characters, like Bianca's a really cool one, by the way. I like her too. She's really like friendly, to be honest. And not to mention she's a swimsuit model as well. I like her as well. I really do. So the only one that I cannot stand is that villain Ivy. I do not like her. Because at first she's like very nice, but then later on we just find out that she's the one that's working with, I guess, with the producers and stuff. Yeah, I don't like Ivy either. She's like another villain I cannot.
Yeah, she's working with Kirsten.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yep. Have you met Vince yet? The curly hair.
Vince, oh my god, I don't like him either. He's like, oh my god, Vince in that book from America's Most Eligible book 2, I can't stand him whatsoever. I'm just like, I'm not gonna even try to be friends with this dude at this point, because he sucks, honestly. He's not innocent anyways, because he did try to do something to like the character Adam. Yeah, he tried to do something like bad. I was like, nope, I don't like Vince. He's not gonna be one of my friends in this book whatsoever. But no, I don't like him. Oh god, it's just like the thought of it just makes my skin crawl a little bit.
Hey, Adam and High School Stories Brian. Yeah, I have found out them to be really similar to each other.
Right, they kind of do, honestly.
Yep. Evil. That's just super good. So, did you win the season 1 of America's Most Eligible, or?
Yes, I did.
Ivy?
I won.
Okay, so you got all the jury on your side.
Yes, I did. All of them.
That's good. Yeah. So the sad thing was like they made us pay 50 diamonds to swing the jury.
Right. I was like, that kind of bothered me a little bit, but hey, I was like, let me just take this diamond thing because I want to win the competition. I don't like. I honestly wanted to just take that whole spoon, to be honest. I was like, just give me my diamonds. I want to win this competition. Like, I want to get it together. So.
Exactly. It was a great book, and Jen, her being a love interest, I like that too. There, so all in all, America's Most Eligible. This is my second book I played, and after High School Story, it's my second favorite book.
I also like too that America's Most Eligible has like plenty of LIs, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Because I feel like with the recent books, like, don't get me wrong, I do love the recent books that I've read, like in the previous the conversations throughout this podcast. I just feel like Pixelberry needs to bring back like that format again, where like you can choose more than one LI. Hopefully, in the future they should do that. I would love to see that happen, but nonetheless, I do enjoy the books that I'm reading at the moment right now, or the ones that I've read previously. So,
yeah.
And I do understand like people's frustrations where they're like, oh, like, we want more than one love interest, but you gotta understand, like, with certain books, there's gonna be like one or two love interests only, and then there's gonna be hookups every now and then. Not all the time, but just like every now, like in every other chapter, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, the game's name is Choices, so like your choice matters. So it's just only fair that you have more love interest. But there are also going to be like book like with every heartbeat where you get only one love interest. So yeah,
Hmm.
there you go.
And then for the nanny affair, it is also for a single love interest as well, because there's not really hookups right there. It's just more of like the story arc with Sam and the MC for that one. There's like other
Oh,
books too that I think that they do have a single li, but I gotta like look back to it because yeah, there's
Nanny Affair has a lot of pickup scenes, and specifically book two.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, and did you read My Two First Loves?
I have never read that book, but everyone else I knew did. I just that's just like one too many chapters to read. I understand that they did like this whole like storyline. I'm just like I just really wasn't like not interested in it, but I was seeing like people reading it and they enjoyed it. So the only thing is it's like the diamond scene like format, like for each chapter it's like does it look like I got a mind for diamonds every day now? Like that's why I chose not to read it for that reason. For every single chapter. It was just like bananas pretty much in that one.
Yeah. Did you like the movie To All the Boys I've Loved Before?
I have not seen that movie, but I've seen the trailer for it, so I gotta watch it sometime.
Oh yeah, so no, like the meaning is like this book is kind of like that. Yeah, you get the
Just some
idea.
parts, but okay.
Yeah, but it's a good book. I enjoyed that. And did you read Heist Monaco?
I haven't read that one yet, honestly. I gotta get on that one.
Yep. I mean, also this also resembles the movie The Italian Job. I mean, if you liked that, you're gonna like this book a lot. It's kind of like
Sounds
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really gotta get on these other books, but I just feel like I choose the ones that are like the most like interesting or that sound interesting to me. But I guess like everyone does have their preferences on what books they read and choices. So
Exactly.
very favorite.
Yeah. Do you like horror genre?
A little bit, yes, I do. I've heard that there's a book that's coming out. I think it's called Wake the Dead. Pretty
Yeah, it's a
much.
zombie book.
Yeah, I'm ready for that one because I feel like I actually did see. I don't know if it was somewhere, but I think I've seen like the book cover already for Wake the Dead. I was like, yo, wait a minute, like it kind of reminded me of The Walking Dead. So I was like, I've never seen The Walking Dead, but I know people that have watched it. So I was like, all right, I want to get on this book because I love zombies and whatnot. I want to see, like, I want to check that one out when it does come out. Though I'm
So a horror anthology called It Lives. You're gonna give it a try someday. It's scary, but it's also full of adventure and mystery. It's shrouded in mystery. Book two
wow,
specific.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So if I ask you, like, we have a lot of genres right now. So we have like romance genre. We have rom com. We have like mystery adventure. But if I ask you, like, what would you like to see from Choices in future? I mean, I know they're bringing a FBI book and a zombie book in the near future, and like a BDSM book with Surrender. But what other genres would you like to see from Choices in future? What do you personally expect?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I don't know what other genres are, to be honest, because I feel like Choices did cover like some like with romance and other topics pretty much, because I know that they have a little bit of fantasy because of Blades of Light and Shadow and the Royal Romance, but I do
Yeah.
want to see like more I'm just gonna say this right now, and I know that this is probably gonna be like uploaded or whatever, but just as a woman myself with with Asperger's syndrome or high functioning autism, I'm just gonna say this right now. I wish that there was a Choices book that covered, I guess, like a young adult, pretty much from the time that they're in elementary school, and I guess they're getting bullied because they're autistic or have another disability. I want to see something like that in Choices where I guess where people have an understanding of what the autism spectrum's like. So I'm very open, with that idea. I don't know what the genre would be like, but I feel like that should be something that Pixelberry could think about, if I'm being honest.
That would be really interesting because again, like this is what happens in real life sometimes. So this would be really good representation and for awareness too.
Yeah, because I know that there's been like other books and whatnot that I don't know if they really touch up on disability as much, but I feel like that should be the main one that they should cover. Because not it's because like nowadays people are very like uneducated about like autism or just like the special education community, because I'm part of it as well as a 23-year-old woman and whatnot. I just feel like that should be something that they could look into, because it could not only help people understand what what I guess what the person has like in their mind and whatnot with being autistic or whatever disability one has, but I feel like an autism related book should just be very good for everyone, that even if they don't know somebody that's autistic, they could be educated at least through a choices book or even just through resources online as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even what's better than the resources online is that, like, if you read choices, for instance, if you're reading a zombie book, then you imagine yourself also like people imagine that, oh, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to do exactly what the hero did. So, for instance, if you read something that represents, for instance, Black Lives Matter or any other social cause, or like you did with like the conservatorship, and also like Charles did one with about the climate change and environment. So and about the disease or any disabilities for your case autism. If they do something like that and people read that, and they would be like imagining themselves like doing the right thing, like the main character or the characters in that book. So that would be a good thing because these things really inspire and sort of because like stimulate people to do good or do what
Yeah,
it happens in the book.
yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world, like with with immigration reform and with the Black Lives Matter movement that has been popping up since last year, and then not to mention the Me Too movement. I want to see a book that's related to like social causes, like for reasons mentioned
Oh,
on here.
Red
Not
Carpet
many people
Diary
talk about,
is like
yeah,
that.
yeah, just like not many people like talk about this stuff. But I feel like Choices should do something that's like solely related to that topic, or add like relevant world topics that people can research on and I guess like be responsible with it as well. I'm just like I'm just coming from someone that is going to be in broadcast journalism / communication, so it's important to just get the word out there, but in a way where you're not like looking up fake articles or whatnot. Just like be good with your research, be good with your sources and whatnot is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And just so choices did say they're going to come out with a Black Lives Matter, like something that would represent the Black history and something the struggle, and a complete book on that next year. And they did represent the police brutality on the blacks and how it happens in America in book, in chapter 40 or something. So
Hmm.
that's about it so far. But like you said, I would really love it if they do those things because, like you said, it educates people a lot. And it's better than a Google search, I believe, because
Yeah,
when they're writing it, they're doing their whole research, which is not just not looking into Facebook or into Google, but doing the actual research, and they're putting it up on the game in the books, and then you are actually being aware, so the awareness is getting spread there, so that would be super awesome.
yeah, that would be good. Or even like a book that's even related to women in science as well, like like string theory or other.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna name drop that. That would be good too for that as well. I know that I don't think they've ever had a book that's related to like science or even and biomedical engineering as well. Though. Now that I'm like thinking about it as well, because it's just that people don't really like talk about these things wide in the open. So I feel like I'm on this podcast as well to talk about like those specific topics, and maybe like choices could come up with ideas in regards to it, as long as they don't disappoint everyone. Because we want more variety is what I'm trying to like piece this together.
Yeah, exactly. Some genres for that. Yeah, like I said, women in science, one particular book for that. So that'd be really good, like different books for different reasons. So that's like something no one has ever thought of. choices do that, it'll be really interesting to see how they come up with this.
Yeah, and it would be inspiring too, because not even just like with like women in science or even just science in general, there should be like a book that's related to aviation or even up to like there's another one too, but it's also like with being in a power plant as well. That should be interesting too, like for people that are interested in like those areas. So that would be pretty cool. There's a plot in those areas of that book.
I agree.
Because there are people that are into that.
Yeah, that would be super good. I also hope to see those things and some other genres like sports and everything, like how even like people, like there could be because there's not much about sports in charts as of now. I would love to see that, a gender customizable, and if you choose to be a woman, then you face a different storyline there as compared to a man for a story genre. That'd be really awesome.
Yes, I know that there's not, yeah, like there's never been any sports related books. I'm just glad that you brought up that, because I never really thought of it that way as well. They should really take into account that there should be like some sort of a plot where there's like like a small town soccer team that actually makes it to like the big leagues or something. That would be a really good plot right there for
Would
a
be.
future book. Yeah, it would be definitely.
I love to read those sports because I like sports, and like the way choices come up. Think about sports. It's just super awesome. So I would definitely love that.
Yeah, that would be very, very awesome for that one.
Yeah. So that's about, I guess, future books. Okay, so I've got covered everything on my notes that I had written down. So, do you have anything else to add, or anything else to any questions? Anything?
Well, at this moment, I don't have questions, but thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, because I've always wanted to be on a podcast, and this is really awesome. To just talk and about like the choices and other topics as well that are already covered in this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say thanks for coming because, like I really had a nice time, talking about choices and even like all the things you talked about. I guess it was really good discussion, a productive discussion for 1 hour and 22 minutes. And what do we expect from choices in future? Also, I liked about that. And I guess people also like, knowing different opinions. And I really appreciate you coming and, making me enjoy this.
Yes, I'm very like happy that I've taken part in this. So.
Yeah. And I would love if you even join in future, with other books and stories and topics. I really love that, having more conversations.
Yeah, well, like considering this is my first time ever being in a podcast, I feel like I didn't do that bad, to be honest. I'm just going along with the flow right now at this time.
Oh, you did way better than you can imagine.
Thanks.
You're natural, yeah. And just so you know, I'll be linking your Instagram and Twitter below in the comments, and I'll be pinning it. So anyone who would like to check her Gabe Ricky and the fan fiction on laws of attraction with love interest Gabe Ricky, so you can go on and check that out, and it's super awesome. I've talked about it earlier in this podcast, but I just want to tell you that it was super good. Like I said, the current affairs there, and also like the conservatorship, I guess, and also like the way you wrote down like how it all started, how Sadie found out, from that, and the case even we were fighting, it was even better, and the way we meet Gabe and how it initiates from there, it was really interesting, and I'm waiting for the next part. And I hope it's going to be super awesome. Thanks for that.
Awesome. No problem. Oh my gosh. I guess I'm going to be like uploading that latest chapter on my Twitter. So check me out. It's going to be linked down below. So I'm very, very excited. I hope I don't disappoint anyone. So.
Nope. I don't think you're going to do that. Yeah. Okay. All right, so thanks for taking a time from your morning and coming here and having this awesome conversation. And stay safe, take care, and I hope to see you soon here to talk about choices and a lot of other stuff very soon.
No problem. I hope so that that'll happen for sure.
Yep. Take care. Bye.